Hello, everybody. It's Mikey. Once more into the breach, dear friends. And here we are, born to be kings. We're the princes of the universe. Yeah. And welcome, everybody. We're almost halfway through. We're looking at this morning, our next of the new Trek volumes here. As you know, we're going to have up to 8 volumes. So we're on volume 3 right now. And today we're covering Star Trek Picard, which came out in 2020 and ran for 3 years till 2023. And there is Sir Lemon Pie. Yo, you night owl. Yes, I am, sir. You know me well. You know me well, brother. Welcome, welcome. You are first in the box, Sir Lemon. Welcome, my friend. Keep an eye on the chat for us, will you, sir? Appreciate that. All right, Star Trek Picard did cover a total of 30 episodes, according to the background information here on the effervescent imdb.com. As I said, it ran for 3 years from 2020 to 2023. The overall IMDb rating from over 101,000 people, not 100,000, but 101K, they came up with a 7.5 out of 10. So in my estimation, that's like anywhere from a C plus to maybe a B minus. That sounds about right. This series contained this spin-off series from Star Trek contained a sci-fi epic, space sci-fi, action, adventure, drama, and sci-fi. And according to the info here, it is and was, because it's no longer out there now, but it was a follow-up to Star Trek The Next Generation, which came out in 1987 and ran for 7 seasons. And that centers on Jean-Luc Picard in the next chapter of his life. So very cool. Now, the creators were Kirsten Beyer. We just talked about her. So we'll look at Michael Chabon. And yeah, I kind of think we will look at Akiva Goldsman because he is quite nefarious, but not as bad as Kurtzman, to be honest. So we can go over his brief mini bio, as it were. As I said, this did win 1 Primetime Emmy. It featured mostly Sir Patrick Stewart, Michelle Hurd, and Jerry Ryan, who reprised her role as 7 of 9 now that she's Annika Hansen. And let's see. Okay, basically, Patrick did all 30 episodes, as Picard. Michelle did 28, and Jerry did 25. And we're actually going, yeah, I think we'll just do briefly Alison Pill, Dr. Agnes Girardi, who did like 20 episodes. So we'll just kind of look at her real quick too, see what they're up to. But I do want to take a quick look to see how old our friends are, such as Adam Soon, played by Brent Spiner, and William T. Riker, number 1. He used to be number 1, Jonathan Frakes. And Gates McFadden, of course, Dr. Beverly Crusher came back. Let's see. John Delancey, of course, is Q. And Ed Spilliers as Jack Crusher. So we'll look at him too real quick. All right. But the 3 main ones, as I said, we'll look at Patrick and Michelle and Jerry and see what's going on with that. Okay. Now, as I mentioned in a previous stream, I did manage to watch the last 3 episodes of season 3 of this series spinoff. And that was, let's see, yeah, episode 8, Surrender, episode 9, Vox, and episode 10, The Last Generation. Yeah, those were the last 3. So I did manage to catch all of those 3 last episodes of season 3. That was pretty much it, because I really enjoyed watching them go up against the Borg. And all of that, both episode 9 and 10 were rated very highly, especially the finale, 9.4 out of 10. That's practically an A plus. Yeah. Well, A plus would probably be right at 10. So I would say a straight up A. Yeah, for both. 9.3 out of 10 for Vox, which was episode 9. So, yeah, that's what happens when you get the Borg involved. Uh, yeah, then you have a great, towards the end. So you finished out strong. All right, before we begin with that, let's check on the chat here. We got 2 likes already, 2 people watching. That is awesome. Skogly Joe Toon, welcome Skogly, my brother. How are you, sir? He says season 1 was pretty good season. Yep, it was pretty good. Season 2, probably some of the worst television you've ever seen. I kind of agree with you there, sir, especially when, Will Wheaton came back as, Wesley. Yeah, shut up, Wesley. Yeah, not a great episode on that one. I do recall seeing that and I was disgusted. And season 3 was incredible and a whole lot of fun because, like I said, they brought back the Borg. You know, it seemed like ever since TNG first introduced us to the Borg, right? Even Enterprise, right, with Scott Bakula had an episode that involved the Borg, and it was one of their most popular episodes of their 4-season run, right, from 2001 to 2005. So, yeah, so there you go. I mean, they even did a movie, right? For Star Trek First Contact about the Borg and involving with Zephyr Cochrane and all that. Yeah, exactly. Lemon says hello to Scogly. Scogly says, yep, the ones written by Michelle Paradise tend to be a little rocky. Yeah, I agree with you there, sir. And you see, unlike a certain person who said that he wants to save Star Trek, of course, I won't say his name. I hate to say his name. But but at least I admit, okay, at least I'm a person who can admit that I did not see every single new Treks, but I like to examine them in a little bit deeper detail. But I will admit to all of you, yes, I did see those last 3 episodes of season 3. They were very good. Everything that involved the Borg, it's all true. It was just fascinating. It was great. Yeah, it was hard to see you know, the one that figured out the Borg tactics, on her Enterprise F that got destroyed, right? Um, and then the G is there, but it's kind of an oversized Titan, I guess. But then, Jerry Ryan takes command of it, barely any experience, and then Jack Crusher is her assistant or her number 1, technically. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah. And we will talk about that when we get to volume 8. Volume 8 is basically going to be what is the future of Star Trek. Now, that means since we've already gone through 10 episodes of Starfleet Academy, where are we going from there? Because we have already heard rumors that season 2 is going to be completely canceled. Then we heard that it's in the can and they're going to maybe allow some of those episodes that are in the can already to be shown and then cancel the whole thing. And then I heard that an Academy is just going to be a final summation, for my own opinion about it, for what I saw and everything. But when I talk about Strange New Worlds, well, now to be honest, I have seen a recap of all the episodes from season 1 and season 2, but I've not been able to see 3 or 4. I just have other things going on. And so they're saying they're doing a 5th season. So they're finishing 4, doing a 5, and then that's it. Because they don't want, Kurtzman, the chaotic man of Star Trek, to run any more shows, especially after what happened, unfortunately, with Starfleet Academy. You should see that rating. At one time, it was a low 2 out of 10. Now I think it's finished up at about a 4.4. So according to our friend and brother Gorilla, it'd be a FU out of 10. So yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Scogli says, I think Star Trek Legacy is a terrible idea. I'm pretty sure you're right on that. Strange New Worlds is brilliant, all of it. Yeah, yeah, I have to admit, I was kind of taken aback by Strange New Worlds. I thought it was actually pretty decent. Even the musical episode, I don't know. Never saw that. But I mean, it was in the recaps, right? So yeah, the first 2 seasons. If I can find recaps for season 3 and possibly season 4, then I can comment on those after I've seen the recapped episodes from those seasons. Or I can just do a stream like the one I plan on doing, soon. So, but Scogli and Sir Lemon, it is so great to see you both, brothers, and I'm glad you're here. And yeah, so let's just quickly go back here over Picard, and we will take a look at the mini bios of at least 2 of the creators, and then we'll just do a quick run through for Stuart Hurd and Ryan, who are the main characters, and and then the last and not least, we'll finish with some of the TNG stars that appeared, like Worf, like Geordi, like Riker, like Data, like Troy, and and Crusher, and Beverly, and we'll see where they're at. So, all right, so let's go ahead and take a look first at Michael Chabon. All right, Michael Chabon is a writer, producer, actor himself. He was born May 24th, 1963, so currently he is 62 years of age until May 24th. He was born in Washington, D.C. He's a writer and producer. He's known for John Carter movie in 2012. Now, that was a Disney shit show. Wonder Boys in 2000, and then Star Trek Picard in 2020. He has been married to Ayelet Waldman since 1993. They have 4 children, but he was previously married to Lolly Groff. Okay. Himself, he's been nominated for 2 Primetime Emmys. He was one of the writers on John Carter in 2012. I feel bad for him. Wonder Boys, he did in 2000. He wrote that. He was one of the writers. He did write in 2004 for Spider-Man 2. And then he was the writer and one of the creators, as I said here, for Picard for all 30 episodes. So that is Michael Chabon. So he's got 4 kids and married. Cool. For a second time. All right. Then there's Akiva Goldsman. He's one of the 2 hated men besides Mr. Kurtzman. He's producer, writer, script, and continuity department. Well, continuity, he definitely needed help there. He didn't help himself. The Brooklyn-born son of therapist Tev Goldsman and noted child psychologist Mira Rothenberg. Screenwriter Akiva Goldsman began writing as a teenager, submitting stories to The New Yorker and other publications. Although his efforts were met with rejection, he continued an interest in creative projects, churning out stories and scripts while attending excuse me. Sorry. While attending Wesleyan University and later NYU's master's program in creative writing. Are you freaking serious on this man? Yikes. He was born July 7th, 1962. So right now he's the humble age of 63. In 2001, he wrote, he was the writer for A Beautiful Mind, which featured Russell Crowe. In the third of the four, I'm sorry, in the fourth of the Batman franchise, but which featured George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell and Alicia Silverstone in Batman and Robin in 97. Considered probably one of the worst of all four. He wrote for that. You see this pattern he's forming? uh, let's see, from 2022 to last year, it says he was a producer for 28 episodes of Strange New Worlds there for Star Trek. And in 2005, he was a writer for the movie called Cinderella Man, which unbelievably got an 8.0 out of 10 from a lot of people. And I'm not even going to go into what he's got upcoming. He's got like 10 more projects. Honestly, why is the man still employed? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Anyway, Akiva Goldsman, that's enough of you. All right, let's see. Okay, so let's see how the why do you bring up that horrific movie? I'm so sorry, Sir Lemon. My brother, my friend, I'm sorry. I only mentioned it once. I only did mention it once, sir. Yep, Batman and Robin. Yes, sir, I know. I know which one you were referring to. Yeah, we own all four of them. Yeah. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I thought, I thought at least Alicia Silverstone is eye candy, back then, but, hey, that's all she was as Batgirl to me. Yep. Not even remotely close to what Yvonne Craig brought, to TV with the original series in their third season, of Batman. Yeah, not even close. Okay. And of course, Alicia's still around and poor, Craig, Yvonne, who is also related to my, beautiful wife Suzanne when her maiden name was Craig. Yeah, relation. And she's been gone for a while. Okay. So, yeah, I promise I won't mention that horrific Batman movie again. Okay. Let's see. All right, so looking at Sir Patrick Stewart, he was like I said, I'm only for like the first three people. I'm just gonna, give a quick, mini bio, and the rest I'm just gonna let you know how old they are and if they got anything else planned. Let's see. All right, so Sir Patrick Stewart was born in Muirfield, Yorkshire, England, to Gladys Barrowclough, a textile worker and weaver, and Alfred Stewart, who was in the army. He was a member of various local drama groups from about age 12. He left school at age 15 to work as a junior reporter on a local paper. He quit when his editor told him he was spending too much time at the theater and not enough working. Stewart spent a year as a furniture salesman, saving cash to attend drama school, and he was accepted by Bristol Old Vic Theatre. And of course, he did work at that theater with the great Ian McKellen, which they developed a long-term friendship. Let's see. So born July 13th, 1940. So the man himself, Jean-Luc Picard, is 85 years of age, or 85 years young, depending on what you want to classify him as. He was nominated for 4 Primetime Emmy Awards. Remember, he was Charles Xavier in Logan as recent as 2017, along with Hugh Jackman. When he was in Star Trek First Contact as Jean-Luc Picard, which came out just after Generations, and then followed by Insurrection, and then followed by Nemesis, of course. But they mentioned his First Contact in 1996 and Insurrection in 1998. And of course, he played Captain Jean-Luc Picard and a guy named Michael Williams, among other things. I don't really know what that means. But anyway, from 87 to 94, he was in all 176 episodes, the 7-year run of that series. Now, for 124 episodes in the last 21 years, from 2005 to now, he has played CIA Chief Avery Bullock. He's done the voice for him in American Dad, which is one of those Seth MacFarlane vehicles TV series. So he's been doing that currently. And also, there was a movie short where he presented himself as Picard in Paramount Plus, A Mountain of Entertainment, Hail Patrick, which came out in 2024. And then recently in the multiverse, before he did Picard, Star Trek series, he was in a movie as Charles Xavier Professor. He came back, and that was in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, of course, featuring Benedict Cumberbatch. And that was in 2022. So there you go. Okay. And it says here he does have at least 3 projects coming up. He is going to be there as Professor X for Avengers Doomsday, which is supposed to come out December 12th of this year, before Christmas. He just completed a movie coming out this year, an animated film called The Sheep Detectives, where he plays Sir Richfield. He does a voice. And then also there's a TV series called Bait, where his voice is Pighead. And it's the season 1, episode 5 episode of Bait that he's doing as Pighead voice. So that is what Sir Patrick Stewart is doing. All right. Okay, so now we'll look at Michelle Hurd as Ralphie. Okay, she was born December 21st, and they don't give a date for her. Okay, so I may not want to go into a whole lot of stuff about her. Let's see. Actress, producer, executive. She was born in New York City, New York. And she's known for Blind Spot, a movie in 2015. Picard, of course, in 2020. And The Glades in 2010. She's been married to Garrett Dillahunt, who worked on Justified, along with Timothy Oliphant, that HBO series. And Dillahunt's been in a lot of things. So since July 6, 2007. So that's cool. All right. So she acted in Blind Spot, the TV series from 2016 to 2020 in 34 episodes. And then she worked as Ralphie Musiker, of course, in Picard for 28 episodes from 2020 to 23. In The Glades, a TV series, she played Colleen Manis from 2010 to 2013. She was in 43 episodes of that. And finally, what also she's known for was Law & Order Special Victims Unit from 1999 to 2001 as Detective Monique Jeffries in that series. And she worked on that for 25 episodes. So that's how we know Michelle Hurd. The last thing she worked on was a movie called Where the Wind Blows from last year, where she played Mrs. Hollyhock. Okay, and currently in post-production, she has 4 different projects. One is called One Night Only, where she plays Detective Vanessa Bryan Brown, and then Rachel Goldberg in a movie called Office Romance. Then she's in something called The Designer, Life 2.0 as Felice, and then in a pre-production right now, Holiday Hearts, where she plays Dr. Jocelyn Isaacs. So that is Michelle Hurd, is what she's up to. All right. And now we'll take a look at one of my favorite TV actresses growing up, of course, and that was Jerry Ryan. And let's see what she's up to. Let's see here. Miss Jerry. There she is. 709. Okay. All right, Jerry Ryan was born Jerry Lynn Zimmerman on February 22nd, 1968, in Munich, West Germany, to Gerhard Florian Zimmerman, a master sergeant in the United States Army. So we want to thank Jerry Ryan's dad for serving, and also his wife, and then his wife Sharon, a social worker. She and her older brother Mark grew up on several military bases, including Kansas, Maryland, Hawaii, Georgia, and Texas. Finally, at age 11, her father retired from the Army and her family settled down in Paducah, Kentucky. And after graduating from Lone Oak High School in 1986, she attended Northwestern, the Wildcats there. So, right now, she is currently 58 years old. So, she just had her birthday. There you go. All right. So, for 101 episodes from 1997 to 2001, she appeared in Star Trek Voyager. And in Picard, from 2020 to 2023, she was in 25 episodes as she returned to redo her role as 709. In the movie Dracula 2000, she played the role of Valerie Sharp. And then she was in a movie 3 years later in 2003 as Gwendolyn called Down with Love. All right. And according to the IMDb background, the last thing she currently worked on was for one episode of Leverage Redemption, a TV series. She played Tara Cole in that. That was the character. And it's season 3, episode 5, called The Grand Complication Job. All right. And let's see. After Picard, she did do 5 episodes from 2023 to last year of Dark Winds. She played Rosemary Vines in that. Okay. All right. So in 2026, season 19, episode 1, she's coming back as acting in Criminal Minds TV series. And in a filming right now, she's a voice over for a character named CJ Sky in a movie called Unplugged, which probably is a animated film, it seems like. So that is the cute Jerry Ryan, because my wife is still sexier than she is. Sorry, Jerry, but she does actress and soundtrack. Is what Jerry does. Okay, before we try to finish out here, let's see where we are. Let's see. Okay, so we still have Lemon, and we had Scogli. Okay, so we got one person still watching, and we still have 2 likes. So that's fine. That is awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so now I'm just going to take a look at each of the past actors and actresses that worked on TNG just to see where they're at now. Now, Brent Spiner appeared for 14 episodes of this series during that time as Adam Soon. And let's see. He was born February 2nd, 1949. So currently, yeah, and he had a birthday. So currently, Brent Spiner is 77 years of age. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. And actor, director, writer, right, known for First Contact, Generations, Nemesis, where he played, in Nemesis B4 as well as Data, so 2 of those roles, Data in the other 2 films I mentioned. And then he did return as Dr. Brakashokan in the sequel to Independence Day in 2016 called Independence Day Resurgence. And currently, he reprised his role for 2 episodes in Night Court, which was from 24 to 25. He did the voice of Data for 1 episode of Lower Decks, so that's cool. And let's see what the name of that episode was. Season 5, episode 7, called Fully Dilated. And then for the 2 episodes of Night Court from season 2, episode 11, Wheelers of Fortune, Bob Wheeler. And season 3, episode 13, A Few Good Hens, as Robert Bob Wheeler, or Bobbert Bob Wheeler. So, so that was Brent Spiner. And now we'll just take a look here real quick. Up next. Oh, come on, computer. Don't mess with me. All right. Okay, now we're looking at Frakes. Remember, he just directed season 1, episode 9 of Starfleet Academy. Was one of his recent projects. Okay, so Jonathan Scott Frakes. He was born August 19th of 1952. So right now he is 73 years of age. Of course, he appeared in The Captains from 2011. That was the documentary movie that William Shatner brought the Captains forward. And like we said, he was in Generations, he was in First Contact, he was in Insurrection, and he was in Nemesis. And he did a voice, season 1, episode 1, A Mote of Possibility, in a series, the voice of Xenov in The Mighty Nine, N-E-I-N. And let's see. A Grand Biltmore Christmas is in pre-production, and he's doing that. And then, like I said, he did work. He was director. Let's see here. Let's eliminate some of this. Right. He directed the episode 300th Night, season 1, episode 9. So that was what he did recently. So very cool. All right, so that's Jonathan Frakes. I'm having fun with this, getting to know where they're at now. But I'm just going from the main, whatever's on this list here, people I recognize. All right, so let's look at Jack Crusher. He's basically the 4th and last one. I'll go briefly here, mini bio. He was in 10 episodes of this series. All right, so Ed Spilliers was born on April 7th, 1988 in Chichester, England. He's an actor and producer and executive producer known for You in 2018, Picard, of course, in 2020, and Outlander in 2014. So right now, he is the ripe age of 37. Wow. So he'll be 38 next month. Nice. He was nominated for one BAFTA award there in England. In the You TV series, he was Rhys Montrose, where he appeared for 10 episodes in that. And like I said, he appeared during 2023 in 10 episodes of as Jack Crusher in Picard. Then back in 2018 to 2025, he was in 15 episodes of a TV series called Outlander, where he played Stephen Bonnet. And then in Downton Abbey, oh wow, yeah, Downton Abbey, he was in that for 17 episodes from 2012 to 2014 there in England, where he played Jimmy Kent. So that is Spilliers. All right, and according to IMDb, he was in a miniseries this year, 2 episodes of The Lady. It was a TV miniseries where he played Thomas Cressman. It says here, one completed movie called Wind of Change. He plays Matthias Jabs. One is he's filming right now a TV series called Mercenary, an extraction series. And one in post-production is that same series I just mentioned. So, one in post production. Okay, so that's it. All right, let's move on. Let's see here. Who else we recognize? Okay, we do recognize Q and Gates McFadden. So, John Delancey and Gates. So let's take a look at Gates here. She did 10 episodes during 2023. She was born on March 2nd, 1949, in Cuyahoga Falls in Ohio, an actress and producer and choreography. She was, in Next Generation, Picard, and she also worked on Labyrinth in '86. Huh. She is married to John Talbot. They have one child. So she just had a birthday, and she is now 77 years young. Wow. Gates McFadden. Okay. All right. So, like I said, she appeared 3 years ago in Picard for 10 episodes as Dr. Beverly Crusher. She acted as Dr. Beverly Crusher in Next Generation for all 7 seasons, 155 episodes. She worked on additional crew as Cheryl McFadden in the movie Labyrinth in 1986. That was the one that featured Jennifer Connelly and the great late David Bowie, and of course Jim Henson's Muppets and different things. And then in the TV series Marker from 1995 as Kimba, she appeared in 13 episodes of that series. And recently, in 2024, after she did Dr. Beverly Crusher's voice in Prodigy, which we will talk about eventually, she did in X-Men 97. She was Mother Ascani. That was a voice. And that was from season 1, episode 10. Tolerance is Extinction, part 3. So she did a voiceover in the X-Men universe. How about that? Well, that's pretty cool. Okay, so that is the great Gates McFadden. Okay. All right, and before we finish, let's go ahead and get to our last person here. John Delancey, of course, is Q. Let's see where he's been presently. All right. All right, John Delancey was raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He attended Kent State University, where he won a scholarship to Juilliard. John's father was a professional oboist with the Philadelphia Symphony Orchestra. Delancey is probably best known for his portrayal as Eugene Bradford on Days of Our Lives from 1965 when it started, and the iconic all-powerful Q on Star Trek The Next Generation in '87. He just celebrated a birthday 5 days ago, so happy post-birthday, delayed birthday to John Delancey as actor, producer, writer. March 20th, by the way. So he is now 78 years of age. Way to go there, John. Still kicking at 78. All right. Now, I remember him in a movie that he did with the wonderful Jason Statham, The Crank, and also Crank High Voltage. So he was more prominent in the sequel, that's High Voltage, in 2009, where he played Fish Hallman, a broadcast anchor. In Pathology, in 2008 movie, he was Dr. Quentin Morris. He did appear as Ted in that movie with Michael Keaton called Multiplicity in 1996. And in 2007, he was Nigel Pennington in a movie called Reign Over Me. So that was the stuff there. And then he was a voice of an alien parent in Star Trek Strange New Worlds, was his latest thing. back in 2025. And from that series, it was season 3, episode 2, called Wedding Bell Blues. Okay. So that was the last thing I see that Delancey did. All right, cool. For Star Trek. All right. Okay, of course, there were others from the previous series, as I mentioned. You know, Deanna Troy appeared, Marina Sirtis for a few episodes. Geordie LaForge appeared for a couple of episodes. Worf himself, played by Michael Dorn, appeared in a few episodes too. But as I said, mostly it was all about Spilliers and, um, and Ryan and Hurd, and of course the great Sir Patrick Stewart. So, yeah, and that's not bad. A 7.5 out of 10. So, like I said, close to a B minus. Probably what I would have given the 3 episodes I saw. Um, there on that last season of Picard, the 3rd season. I would have given each of those episodes an A minus because I thought they were great. Yeah, not quite A, but yeah, they were good. They were still pretty decent. And it's had some recent popularity, so still streaming all 3 seasons on Paramount. And let's see, what else can we tell you about it real quick. Okay, so season one did have 10 episodes. So it seems like this was similar to what happened with Starfleet Academy. Of course, Starfleet Academy didn't have numbers like this, obviously. Yeah, and then 10 episodes in season 2, and finally 10 episodes in season 3. And as I mentioned one last time, I did get to see the last 3 episodes: Surrender, Vox, and The Last Generation. All good episodes. Okay. All right, well, that covers my brief summation of Star Trek Picard. And tomorrow, on Thursday, March 26th, we will look. Oh, Jesus. What happened?
Everything flew this way.
Yeah, what happened?
Everything from the top of the ladder flew this way.
Wow, at you. Well, you better go check it, honey. Wasn't the girls. They weren't anywhere near it. You girls okay? We just had a spirit invasion. Somebody tried to throw stuff at my wife just now. Oh my God, you need to get rid of it, honey. That spirit.
Okay.
You need to get rid of it. Okay, so our next one we'll look at tomorrow after this interruption, rudely interrupted. Like I said, we will look at Star Trek Lower Decks. We'll just do a brief summation of that. Then on the 27th, we'll do Prodigy. Then on 28th, we'll look at Strange New Worlds. And finally, I'll give you my final summation on Starfleet Academy. And then on the 30th, we're going to have a very special new Treks, which we call the future of Star Trek. We're going to look at possibly seeing what they hope will be Star Trek Legacy, or it will be Star Trek Legends, and it will feature Jerry Ryan's 7 and 9, and like I said, Ed Spilliers, who plays Jack Crusher. So we'll see what happens with that, if they decide to get that off the ground. But we'll talk about that. And we know that Strange New Worlds might go for a 5th season. We'll see how that works. And we've already heard that Academy probably won't do a 2nd season. However, they did put at least, last time I checked, there was at least 3 episodes in the can. So whether or not they decide to go ahead and do a 2nd season, and so most people are saying they shouldn't, but if they do, that's going to come out next year. So on the 2027. So yeah, we'll just see what happens with that. We'll go from there. But anyway, okay, so there we go. All right, so thank you, everyone. I will go ahead and shut it down here. I do appreciate Mr. Sir Lemon Pie Citrus for coming into the chat this morning. I know it's very late or, early, very early in the morning. But as I said, I'm doing these, doesn't matter what time. I'm just trying to do them every day, from now until the 30th when I do the last volume of our series. Then, Suzanne and I are going to take the day off on the 31st of March for one day. And then we'll come back and I will do the 4 parts of one of the greatest TV miniseries ever made, which was Jesus of Nazareth. It was my go-to Easter time movie that I wanted to see on TV. And it came out back in 1977. So when it comes out again this year, it will be celebrating its 49th anniversary. Next year, 50 years. So that should be pretty awesome. Can't wait for that. Yeah, we may even do a live stream, the 50 years of Jesus of Nazareth. Yeah, we could do that next year. That would be fun. Okay, so again, on behalf of Sir Lemon Pie and Mr. Skogli Jotun, my brother there, the gamer, make sure you go to each of their channels to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button here tonight if you enjoyed what you saw. Don't forget to share it with your friends. We do have 89 wonderful extended family members. Remember, they're considered to us as more important than being just subs. So we're trying to get to 100, our very first goal. So we only need 11 more wonderful people to join our group and join our family here in the community of ChattyBloggerMS. All right. So yeah, and make sure you go and subscribe to each of our friends here. Lemon is a great managing mod, and I've got Skogli, who is our standard mod and helps us out too. And yeah, make sure you endorse both their channels. Okay, so on behalf of my beautiful wife Suzanne, who always says, leave everything in God's hands, to our brother Larry of Be Yourself Adventures, who says, and I quote, always be yourself. And then, of course, that great man, Gene Siskel, part of Siskel and Ebert at the Movies from the 80s and 90s, movie critics show, and, who worked at the Chicago Tribune and was a great movie critic. And he was my favorite nerd growing up when I watched him on TV to talk about movies. And now the aisle's closed, is what he said. And then, so thank you to the family. Also, as my brothers Matt Arnold and Jim's Landscape say, remember, you never know where you'll hear or see me next. So make sure you ring that dang bell. This thing right there. There you go. And of course, my own personal meme I came up with this year is together strong all year long. And that's how I want our family to be together, to stay strong. Remember, kindness reigns and God's our number one pilot. That is our description of this channel, where we are there for you. We will pray for you. We'll give you love, all the support you need. We may not be financial geniuses, but we'll try to give you all the possible reassurance that you are special people. You're very important to us, and we hope that all of you can help us make this channel great. That is our ultimate goal. So, all right. Well, everyone, take care of yourselves. And on behalf of peace, on behalf of myself, my beautiful wife Suzanne, and our beautiful cat Spoon Pie and Deja Vu, the 9 and 5-year-old olds. Thank you all for coming tonight, this morning, and we'll see you tomorrow. Then on Thursday, as we cover Lower Decks. So until then, take care and God bless you all.